All right, we're catching some of the Chat Tournament 36 finals between Midas and Akiyama. Uh, Akiyama is, of course, always very good and has been so far this tournament, but I think it is Midas's run that has stood out, knocking out Turds and Seto, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone else very important. This is a 4-rounder, so a bit more competitive than the standard 3-rounders. We are... I don't know when this is coming out, so we may have given up on the 4-rounders. Yeah, beat Acela, Turds, and Seto. What a tough bracket. And then Akiyama in the finals. So really difficult here. We're catching it a bit late. Let's look at the rules. They've tied one game already. We have plus wall, so no same. Probably the least important of those 3 rules, but something to keep an eye out for. And Midas has captured, or Akiyama has captured Midas's starter. And if we look at Midas's hand, aside the card he's picked up, which I don't know what it is because I wasn't paying attention, not many cards with much left power. So you can see why Akiyama would want to direct the game that way, even if Akiyama doesn't have that much power in that direction either. Now that means I think Midas has 2 very viable choices. We may notice his 1797 is covered by the 8295, any 7 to the right, if it lands in a middle column, is in danger. But Midas clearly has the option of 8, 9, 2, 6, and 7. And if he has any control at all of 6, 6, 8, 6, and 5, that position's pretty promising. Alternatively, could play 8, 7, 7, 3, and 7, which is probably the better card to put there, because 8, 9, 2, 6 I think will have a little more play moving forward, what with being a threat in 5-type squares. So I guess you'll never need to capture that card. All right, what was the last card? 8915, so very similar to 8926. So I suspect Midas picked it up intending to go in 7. And the reason Akiyama captured is because Midas doesn't have the play in 2. In general, that gives kind of 2 core options when you don't have 2 here. One is to like force 2 to work. No, that's not an option. So the 2 real options are a big setup in 6 or playing safely in 7. 7 looks appealing. 8926 is definitely better than 8915 because it sweeps much of the hand going left, while 8951 can catch 6s and 2s but not 5s and 7s in Akiyama's hand. But 8773 is also a card strongly worth considering in 7. Ideally, you want to control 6, 6, 8, 6, and 5, but it looks like no move does that. Given that's the case, your likely play out is, and given that Akiyama really does like moves in 5 in these line setups, there are some high-level players who don't touch them very often. Myself, I think, included in that. But I think 5 is clearly the critical try here for Akiyama if Midas goes 7, given that 2 is controlled. I was thinking 8773 might be a card you want out of your hand. I know it has some relatively unique strength in the hand, specifically the 7 down is one of 2 decent downward numbers, but I'm not sure the 7 down actually affects much, right? It only captures 6s in either player's hand, basically. It only captures 6, 6, 8, 6 from above. Not sure how much you're going to need that. And in return for keeping it in your hand, you now have trouble sticking it in the middle row without 8295 hitting you hard. So my instinct here, kind of going on principle, is 8773 was the card that belonged in 7. Alright, and I was completely wrong about Akiyama, who just takes the L. Interesting. Now this gives Midas another safe square if he wants it, but he does not have play against 5 after. 6, 6, 8, 6 landing in 5 is dangerous. That gives me the instinct that maybe 6 is appealing here, right? Because fundamentally, I don't think, I mean, maybe we do, but I suspect we don't have a great block of 5. Maybe we do, but at kind of worst for Akiyama, if Midas goes 5, I'm looking for Midas's perspective. I don't really know why here. It's probably because we started on Midas's turn. And because Akiyama's turn spent so little time that I never switched viewpoints. So if we block 5, pretend we can block 5 without getting hugely comboed or something. And Akiyama plays 6, 6, 8, 6, and 3. That's safe to our hand. Like, it's hard to believe we're in great shape there. And there's a good chance we're losing, because if we go something like 8 and 8, 2, 9, 5 lands in 6, we're in trouble. So we probably aren't doing well in 5. Again, it would have more calculation. And Akiyama has a real threat in 5. You know, if he puts something like 6, 6, 8, 6, and 5, that's scary. So 1, 7, 9, 7, 3 is the other key line to calculate immediately, as well as 5. And if we do that, I suspect Akiyama is playing 6, 6, 8, 6, and 5. And it's currently 5, 5, so we'll be down 6, 4 there. And we need some kind of tie against that. And it's not clear we have it. For instance, if we go 8, 9, 2, 6, and 8, Akiyama can go 9, and that should win. So that seems scary. So this all seems quite scary to me. Again, not calculating extensively. But given that you can't really... It looks to me hard for Midas to play 5. So you need compensation when Akiyama plays 5. And to have that compensation, I think you want to set up the pair of 5 and 3. So if you play 6, you say, okay, if you want to go 6, 6, 8, 6, and 5, that's fine. I get to play 3. If you go 3, now I think I can go 5, and I will be up 6, 4, and you won't have a double capture, so I'll be safe there too. So intuitively, this seems to me like a position where you throw something in 6. And my guess would be 8, 7, 7, 3. If Akiyama plays 3, you play 8, 9, 2, 6, and 5. You're up 6, 4. You won't get a capture at the end with 1, 7, 9, 7, but you don't need one. You'll still have the tie. And if Akiyama goes 5, you go 1, 7, 9, 7, 3, and you will again lead 6, 4. Now Akiyama could go 5, setting up 8 with 8, 2, 9, 5. Setting up 6, 6, 8, 6, and 8, but we've kept on to 8, 9, 2, 6 for the end, so we don't lose there. So I think the only way Akiyama can win against 6 is if he starts in 8 or 9, which could be quite dangerous because we don't have the same card for both. Alright, so he does go there, and he does it with 1, 7, 9, 7, which makes a lot of sense. I missed that gives 8, 7, 7, 3 a plus and 6, so now he does have one card for both squares. The 8, 9, 2, 6 works in both squares, and furthermore, 8, 7, 7, 3 is a pretty good backup in 3 or 9. This was probably the way to do it, and he comes up with the same defensive concept here. Which I think is kind of like 3 and 5 are the critical squares to think about going in. And if you play 3, they go 5. And if you go 5, they go 3, and either one is really bad for us. We don't want to be the first to occupy 3 or 5. We also... I guess 8 was really worth considering. If we started in 8... The thing that annoys me a little about 8 is it does give up a plus in 5 if we have an 8 up to 9, 7, 4, 4. But I think that's probably not the end of the world. I should be putting this game in my database. Also, it's possible I missed some fact that sames don't exist, but I don't think any of these variations had sames. So 8, 6, 8, 3, 1, 9, 5, 6, 5, 4, 8, 9, 1, 5, 7, 8, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 7, 9, 7, 6, and Akiyama is possibly already played because he is a very quick calculator. He already goes 8, leaving both squares open. This can only win, though, if he has combo play on 6 from 5, which he does not. 8, 9, 2, 6. It's really good every square but 9. So for instance, 8, 7, 7, 3 in 9 should be a tie now. Right? Yeah. Eight, 6, 2, 9, and 5 does not win but it would if the combos were slightly different. It's comboed back too hard by 8295 in 9, but it's quite close. It's quite close. This does look like a tie here. Interesting game. I think the L was a little good for Akiyama, right? He constructed an L where he had a little the better of it, and Midas had to be kind of careful. And it's possible there was a move in 3 or 5 that tied, but like 3 and 5 looked pretty bad. And so Midas had to find a less usual move. I would be very unsurprised if 8 was fine, though again, hard to figure out what to put in 8, because Akiyama then might be able to play 9, 7, 4, 4, and 5 with a plus, and it's just, you're so bad going left in Midas's spot. Also, if you told me there's a tie in 9, I would not be surprised, but most players are not going to have enough time to check that in 5 minutes. So I think the logical thing to do, and I suspect this is what Midas did here, was calculate 3, calculate 5, and conclude I need 6. Though I also think Midas is using my new style scores, is a more intuitive and less concrete player, and was probably drawn to the combo supporting nature of 6. Possibly getting there on less kind of academic trains of thought. Either way, I think this was a good move, and I think a well-played game. And I like moves in 6 here, because I think something they can do is from a position where I think you're a bit worse, and I think Akiyama was better after the L was set up. Like, fundamentally, not only was Akiyama not losing, but Midas had to be careful not to lose himself. But a move in 6 can sometimes muddy the game enough that you have chances to snag wins out of bad positions. Or out of poor positions. Yeah, and he keeps 8-9-2-6 for the end, which is great here. And Akiyama has to block 5. Now he has a nice same in 5, but same is not a rule. I remember that. So we got to be a little careful not to think 8-2-9-5 and 5 is the answer. But indeed, he picks up 6-6-8-6. And I think we will soon see that land in 5. And then 8-9-2-6 in 3 and 8-2-9-5 remaining. And we have another tie. This is the second tie of the match. The one shame of this game is that the rare didn't lose. Interesting starter, if we just kind of look at this board position, we just look at all the cards on board and you kind of think, okay, there's some serious up power, there's some down power, a lot of cards, serious right power. There's just not very much to the left. And so 8-6-8-3 very much a try to say, okay, this is tough for you to take. But it's tough for me to retake too. And Akiyama sort of went, okay, it's tough for you to take as well. I'm going to make you have to take it. And Midas went, okay, I can't, but you can't take this. And Akiyama said, okay, I'll set up an L where I have control of 5. And control of 5 tends to determine who is the advantage in the L. And Midas said, okay, you have 5, but I can create compensation for your play in 5 by making a counter threat in 3. And then Akiyama said, I ain't touching that. And Midas said, you have to touch that. And Akiyama said, okay, well, I've positioned this well enough because I have a threat against 4 that this is fine for me as well. And we have a tie. So I'm going to pause the video, and if they keep playing, I will continue it. Otherwise, this video will end immediately for you.